right, if we can call to order Town Council regular meeting, June 20th, 2024, Cape Charles Civic Center. If we could get a roll call, please.
Buckles present.
Holloway present.
Bennett present.
Buda present.
Grossman present.
Fulmer present.
Let it be known we've established a quorum. If we could all please rise for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Was that a coincidence, or have we now time to make sure we give the moment?
A moment.
I thought it was perfect, so I just ended it there. All right. We have no visitors this evening. Are there any public comments, or is anyone signed up to speak?
Donna Olney Kohler.
Make it fast. I know 6:45 is the deadline. Let's go. Okay. Hello, my name is Donna Olney Kohler, and I live at 711 Tazewell, which is also the Fig Street Inn. As one of only 2 bed and breakfast businesses in Cape Charles, I wanted to comment on the question of short-term or vacation rentals being held to the same parking requirements as beds and breakfasts. I attended last week's work session when that was discussed. Although I provide an off-street parking spot for each guest room at my inn, I do not expect short-term rentals to do the same. However, I do think it would help alleviate the issues we have with multiple cars and golf carts at short-term rentals by encouraging and perhaps incentivizing short-term rental owners and operators to provide off-street parking, whether that is putting in a curb cut with a driveway or putting in designated parking off the alleyway for those properties that have that capability. One other consideration is to require at least 1 off-street parking spot for new short-term rentals after a certain future date. And I wanted to wish everybody a happy Pride. We have a very strong and vibrant LGBTQIA community here in Cape Charles and on the Eastern Shore, and I hope the town may consider becoming home to a Pride event in 2025. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
No one else has signed up, and I did not receive any in writing prior to the meeting.
All right. On the consent agenda, can we get approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes, and approval of April 30th, 2024 financial report?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. There is no unfinished business. New business this evening, fiscal year 2025 proposed budget and appropriation.
So, Mr. Mayor, we come to the end of a very long annual process tonight to adopt the fiscal year 25 budget. As you know, the Town Councils have met twice in work session on May 2nd and May 16th to discuss the proposed spending plan. That was then brought forward to the public for a public hearing on June 6th. And we are here tonight to act on that proposal. 2 significant changes this year that I just wanted to draw to everyone's attention. Both, it has to do with the sale of the utilities in April of this year, so that's affecting next year's budget. So there's a significant change in the utility fund, obviously, since we don't have utilities anymore. The proceeds from the sale went to pay off our debt, so the debt service fund is significantly reduced. And the rest of the proceeds were put into the capital projects fund, so that one also has seen a significant rise. So looking year to year, it's not really apples to apples in those funds. But it's good because we've reduced our debt and we've increased our assets, our cash and need. As a result of that, our proposed tax rate will be going down. So, of course, we were planning on doing the standard equalization due to increased property values. That would have taken our tax rate down from where it's currently at 21.59 cents per hundred down to 17.24 cents per hundred. But we went beyond that, and since we no longer have debt service payments, we were able to reduce it even further to 14.81 cents per hundred. So overall, tax rates dropped by about a third. Real property taxes dropped about a third. So, and our reserve, and our, like I said, our cash reserves have increased, and our debt's gone. So, good story to tell this year for the budget. With that, just very briefly, the two big funds to look at when you're trying to evaluate the operations of the town would be the general fund and the harbor fund. Those are the two operations. In those two funds, this budget is proposing revenues and expenditures in the general fund of $5,124,100.85. In the harbor fund, $1,162,576. Those are the two main ones. Tracking year to year is kind of apples to apples. The other ones are, I'm not going to read, they're right here, but as I said, they're kind of skewed this year because of the unusual situation that we have. Overall, the total budget will appropriate $27,050,501.23. If there are no questions, I recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2024-0620A, approving the budget for fiscal year 2025 and making appropriation for the fiscal year.
Second.
I move for adoption of ordinance 2024-0620A, approving the budget for fiscal year 2024-25, and building, planning, and zoning fee schedule, and making appropriations for the fiscal year as noticed, and forego the reading of the ordinance. If we could do a roll call vote. Bennett.
Yes.
Buckholz.
Yes.
Buda.
Yes.
Fulmer.
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Holloway.
Yes.
Let it be known, it's unanimous.
Great job, John.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, second bit of business. Regulation of motorized conveyance on sidewalks.
So back in 2022, you approved a similar provision for Mason Avenue. Unfortunately, we did not get the signs in that were required, and our land use permit has expired. So we're ready. We want to re-engage and actually get that done. So while we're doing that, we wanted to consider extending those same conditions to Central Park and the boardwalk on Bay Avenue. So essentially, that's what this ordinance does. It'll extend those conditions to those two areas. We will have to get a land use permit for Bay Avenue, but we won't need one for Central Park since it's ours. But we will get the appropriate signage and do it all at one time, and recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor, for approval of ordinance 2024-0620B.
Second.
I move for adoption of ordinance 2024-06. Discussion? No, after the, I forgot discussion last time, I apologize. I was just moving right along. B, prohibiting operation of certain motorized conveyances on designated sidewalks as noticed, and forego reading of the ordinance. Is there any discussion?
What do you mean by certain motorized vehicles?
Yeah, I might be remembering wrong, but I thought in terms of, I didn't think we limited it to bicycles as the only non-motorized. I thought we included skateboards and scooters as being prohibited on the sidewalk on Mason. Non-motorized scooters and skateboards.
I think there's a sign to that.
Because this
That's right.
this says motorized skateboard, so I don't know if that's a typo or
That is correct. Adding two.
what is correct. My understanding or this?
All skateboards and all bicycles are, once the signs are put up, are prohibited on
Okay.
Mason Avenue.
So it'll be motorized and unmotorized.
Okay. And does that include kids' scooters?
Yeah.
Because I had several people say, well, because there is one sign somewhere that says something, and I've
Down
had
by the
people,
library.
Yeah, skateboards and
yeah,
bicycles.
and I've had people say, well, it doesn't say scooters, so it's just because little kids love to knock down old people.
Can we also expand this to the community trail along Washington? So that eventually the community trail does not get, I mean, folks almost get run over on that sidewalk as well. Washington is not a particularly heavily driven street, so it's reasonably safe to ride a bicycle in the street.
I don't know about that.
I thought it was going to be for Washington,
It's-
Bay and Mason.
It
Wherever the
doesn't say
trail's going.
Washington.
I know, but we're starting to knock out where parents can take their kids away.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's pretty wide. I don't remember that, but I may be wrong.
It's a very.
No one's been
it's a
using it
rough-
lately because it's been torn up forever because of
It's a very
the,
rough road. I'll tell you that right now. I ride my bike in that sucker. That's a tough road to
Yeah.
ride a bike. So, I mean, it's a wide open area. It's against the lake and it's what is it, 8 feet wide, 10 feet wide?
10.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
pretty
wide.
wide. It's a wide thing for little kids to go in there and ride their bikes. It's kind of an ideal place for kids
Yeah.
to learn how to ride a bike.
It's the electric.
It's the electric ones.
Motorized
I
things
have
that
a
I'm sorry.
motorized problem. No motorized should be on any of them.
So to get back to the original comment, then there is a typo in here, correct? So,
Or at least the wording,
this only prohibits motorized.
Motorized, yeah, that's correct.
but we want to.
Because we already have an ordinance for
So-
non-motorized, or no?
Only on Mason Avenue and Strawberry Street Plaza.
But this is for all three for the motorized. Washington, Bay, and
Well, Washington's not
Mason.
on here yet.
Washington's not.
Okay.
If you want that, you'd have to make an amendment to add Washington. If you, right now, if you just leave it the way it is, I might recommend adding Washington because it's motorized only.
I would.
So,
But didn't we already pass the ordinance?
No, we have not, we're in discussion.
We didn't vote, we're
So
in
you can,
discussion
you
now.
can make a motion to amend.
yeah, we're in discussion part of this.
Well, it says we adopted an ordinance in 2022 prohibiting the
Yeah,
operation
it's
of
the
bicycles.
page before, or you
That's
got
for
the
Mason.
ordinance in
Right.
here already.
But are we talking about,
It's only on Mason, the ordinance you adopted in 2022 only prohibited it on Mason Avenue and Strawberry Street Plaza.
right, that was my recollection, but now I thought somebody said
This
that
new
included
one
that.
is-
Oh, it's just, okay, but
The new, just the
we're
new one.
separated.
And
Right.
it says, and like midway down, it
Right.
says, shared use path of Central Park, sidewalk on the west side of Bay Avenue, and then we would want to add Washington Avenue.
So is there a motion to amend?
I move that we amend the ordinance to include Washington Avenue.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that?
Just motorized.
Just motorized.
The new order, yeah.
The new ordinance, yes.
Okay, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we approve that like that? We don't have to do a roll call vote for an amendment?
For the amendment, I can just do,
Well, it was just an amendment, we haven't passed the ordinance yet.
For the amendment, they can just adopt it like that, right?
You
Yeah.
just have to do roll call for the adoption.
all right. Let it be known, the amendment has been unanimously approved. And is there any other discussion before we do roll call?
I'm just confused because did we answer John's question
Well-
about this having a typo?
So my suggestion is we leave it the way it is.
The old, I'm talking, the old one.
Well, the old one is, yeah, the old one prohibits motorized and non-motorized bicycles
On Mason.
on Mason only.
Right.
But,
Okay,
but, but,
just wanna make sure we're
but
clear.
in Bay, Central Park, and on Washington, non-motorized would still be allowed.
Correct. We good? All right.
I'm good.
Holloway,
Yes.
Grossman,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Luda,
Yes.
Buckholz,
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Let it be known it's passed unanimously.
Thanks, Bob.
More signs.
Yeah, more signs. All
Put them
right.
high enough that you don't hit your head on them this year.
Let's hope no store owners take them down.
Next on the list, item C, Town Code, Chapter 28, adoption of state law.
So this is our annual housekeeping item that we do every year. So we're required to pass an ordinance so that we can adopt all of the changes in code regarding motor vehicles and traffic. So it's a fairly straightforward, same thing we do every year. I recommend approval.
How many was it this year?
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2024-0620C.
Is there a second? Thank you. I move for adoption of ordinance 2024-0620C to adopt amendments to the Code of Virginia 46-2 and Title 16-1, Chapter 11, Article 9, 16-1-278 ET Square, and Title 18.2, Chapter 7, Article 2, 18.2266 ET through, if any, for incorporation into the Cape Charles Town Code, Chapter 28, Traffic and Vehicles, as noticed to forego the reading of the ordinance. Is there any discussion?
I wasn't clear on that. Could you read that again?
How many new laws?
I am just following my orders on my sheet.
I'm not even sure I can check.
Could you explain the Latin piece of that?
120 or something last year. It was crazy how many they added.
No discussion? All right. Bennett,
Yes.
Buckholz, Muda,
Yes.
Fulmer,
Yes.
Grossman,
Yes.
Holloway.
Yes.
Let it be known that is passed unanimously. And our final item of new business is appointment of Building Code Board of Appeals member.
So, as you know, we have been struggling to try and find membership to this board. Mr. Ed Wells has applied for this. He's a known service member who's dealt with many boards before. We're well familiar with him, and we're pleased that he's willing to take this on and recommend approval.
Make a motion, we appoint Mr. Edward Wells to the Building Code Board of Appeals.
Is there any discussion? No discussion?
I was going to say second. I didn't hear a second.
I heard a second, it was right here. So all in favor?
Aye.
All right, no one opposed, that is passed unanimously. And Mr. Hosey, any comments this evening?
Yes, just a couple. On the dais, I've placed a draft letter. During our budget discussions, council indicated interest in participating in funding a new fire truck for the fire company. That was just in a work session. So I wanted to bring it up at a regular meeting and put it on the record and document the terms that I heard you say. And so I wanted to review this. This is dated for tomorrow. So I would like to read this into the record and ask if there are any objections. If there's no objections, then I will be sending this tomorrow. So essentially, this is to replace fire engine 15.3 that is 25 years plus old. The town would grant up to $250,000 under the following conditions. Funding is subject to future appropriations by the council and sufficient undesignated fund balances in the general fund in excess of required reserves. Funding will be provided based on a dollar-for-dollar match of other funds dedicated toward this purchase. The town funding can only be applied to one piece of equipment or one piece of apparatus. Funding may be used for either a new apparatus or a used apparatus if no older than 5 years old. Funding will be provided at the time of purchase, and this commitment will expire in 5 years, in June 30th of 2029. Is there any objection to me sending this letter tomorrow?
Question. Sure. The first bullet point. So when we talked about it, we said we didn't need to set the money aside because there'd be plenty in the general balance, et cetera, et cetera. So am I misreading? This seems to equivocate a bit, or that's just kind of
It
boilerplate?
does. This is not, again, this is not an agended item, okay, because this is not a hard commitment, because you have not appropriated the money. We're not spending any money. This is a letter of intent, and that's all that was expressed at this time. So I would have to bring back an appropriation if you wanted to do anything more formal. However, as you know, there is considerable excess funds in the general fund balance, and so long as council keeps that in mind in future budget years to keep that available, in the meantime, we get to continue earning interest on it. So that's why I would prefer to keep it where it's at.
I just want to make sure
Yeah.
it wasn't too equivocal.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, because we talked a lot about that we would do this as long as we see the fire house make an effort toward raising the money. And I promised to meet with Ryan again, and we met, had a really good meeting, have already kicked into place a series of things that are fundraisers, as well as pursuing some grants, and also working to get some funding from the county. So they are showing already the signs of kind of moving in that direction. And one of the things is going to be at Peach Street Books, July 4th. After the parade, the truck's going to pull into Peach Street Books and have a Touch the Truck event.
Oh, cool.
And get pictures, kids get pictures taken and all that. And they'll have their whole campaign set up and everything kicked off. So they're well on their way.
Yes, and I volunteered to sit down with Ryan as well when when he crafts his request to the county to help maximize his probability
Yeah.
for that.
There'll be a QR code on the side of the truck.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
Donate.
We're hitting it from all directions. helping them, so.
Okay, so hearing no objection, I intend to send this letter tomorrow.
Perfect.
Just new staff over for May and June. Nathan Ruff started in Public Works as a Public Works Specialist, seasonal. Olivia Palmer in May 13th started as a library assistant, part-time through the end of June, then she'll be going to full-time July 1. Jack Steinmeier started on June 4th as our zoning compliance officer. And then Joe Gittinger, who's currently on Public Works in a part-time status, will be going to full-time on July 1.
Right.
So
Excellent.
that's the new
Did
staff.
we fill the beach attendants?
Yes, yes, yeah, we have 5 beach attendants. Yeah,
Wow.
Really filled it.
raising the salary helped. I do, the only other 2 things I wanted to mention is that Bob's finishing up all the paperwork on Peach Street, and looks like we're going to be about $50,000 under budget. On that. So,
Good job, Bob.
Great
so
job.
kudos to Bob keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, we'll buy you a beer.
Yeah, as I said, he's buying this weekend. Then the only other thing I just wanted to mention is that I do have 2 trips planned coming up in the next year, and they're both coming up soon. So I'm planning a trip next month in July, 2 weeks, take my grandson on to finish his East Coast tour. So the 2nd and 3rd week of July, I'll be out, though reachable as always. That encompasses the regular meeting of July, so I will be calling in for that meeting, and I'll be trying to keep that agenda light. And then my annual trip to Alaska in September. That'll be the first 2 weeks of September, but I'll be back before the regular meeting in September. And after that, I don't really have anything planned for a whole year after that. So that's all I have.
All right. Any other council members have anything to say this
Yeah, I
evening?
want to say welcome to all the contestants on the next election cycle. So we've got 3 of them here tonight, and there's, I think, between 8 and 9, maybe possibly 10, once we get the updated list from Terry. So welcome. 11?
Wow.
11 as of today. How about it?
I gotta wonder who
That's
the
great.
other ones are.
Excellent.
We'll check with Ed afterwards.
Yeah.
I've got 9 on my list, so I'm anxious.
Gosh, I'm behind, I only had 6.
Yeah, I've got 9
So
as well.
welcome. Glad to see people finally stepping
Yeah.
up.
Yes, indeed, for sure.
Awesome.
Councilwoman Howland?
I just have one quick thing. This Saturday kicks off the concert series for the summer, and the town staff and CCP, Public Works, the police department have worked extra hard in getting things set for this year and some new safety types of things going in place. And it's just been great to see how everybody's working together. There's change, and people have difficulty with change, but the changes are important for safety reasons. And I personally just wanted to say thanks to Chief Pruitt for kind of pushing the envelope a little bit to get us to think through, you know, we think nothing bad will ever happen, and he's preparing us so that we can avoid some of those things. And so thank you so much for that, and have some fun with it. Ready to go.
Thank you.
I'm good.
You're good?
John, just a question, and I don't know if you can speak to it. In the weekly report mentioned some workforce housing possibilities. Is there anything you can elaborate on with that?
It's something the county is looking into, and it's in the very early stages, and they needed to have discussions with Virginia American Water to flesh that out. And so I was trying to facilitate that conversation. I offered my help if they needed me to do anything, or if the town could help. And Charlie said that they'll let me know if they have any.
That call happened today.
Good, good.
I don't know any results of that. I just happened to be at a meeting where somebody was going to the meeting, so.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, because I'm in party to the county discussions on housing. They're really trying to push density increases around towns that have sewer. And I've been cautioning them that, hey, this is not an overnight deal, that all of a sudden you're gonna run lines up, as Bob knows. you know, to Route 13, no less up into the Cheriton area. So that's why they at least wanted to get an idea from Virginia American Water.
Yeah.
What kind of time frame are you talking about being able to sit down and at least talk to us about extending outside the town?
Yeah, and just again, we're still very much in the growing pains part of this transition, but adding to that, the Virginia American Water's main engineer left, Christina left. So they're scrambling, trying to find somebody else. That's why they're having trouble getting in touch with them. It wasn't that Virginia Water was being unresponsive. They're going through the normal transition area issues, and they're trying to replace staff. So I encourage them to be patient with us as we work through these transitions.
The only thing I had was on business licenses. The financial report noted we were down. I know the town is sending out letters to people who apparently haven't submitted. Do you know if there's been a response this
Yeah.
week? Because you had a deadline of Friday.
Yes, we've had people coming in. So we did a face-to-face with that for the brick and mortar establishments, and then we're sending out letters. So yes, I know we've been getting them coming in this week.
Okay, it sounds like on the threat, we need to move that threat earlier to when they're due. This is 2 months after, and
Right, yeah,
Enough
yeah,
said. All right.
we're finally healthy enough on staff to do some enforcement, so rather than just hit them hard when we weren't really up to speed before, but going forward, yes, that's the plan.
thank you.
And it was done a little bit differently this year in how it was sent out. I put it on my calendar, but it would have been easy to miss this year, not 2 months miss, but to miss, especially if you were a newer business and you weren't expecting that date.
Right.
It was communicated differently.
Councilman Paul?
Yeah, just a couple things. One, to congratulate Public Works. They've been doing a great job up and down Mason on emptying the trash, which we know is a big problem this time of year. I'm just wondering if, because I have noticed outside the sort of takeout food places, within an hour that trash can get full. Do we want to maybe encourage those places to have like a larger, somewhere near their exit, a large trash can? Because I've had multiple people say to me, oh, Public Works isn't emptying the trash. I'm like, that was empty 2 hours ago.
Yes.
Lunch more than filled it up.
Yeah.
So just something to think about, because I know, we didn't used to have grab and go places. And now that we do, and we've got Strawberry Plaza, we've got a lot more benches, so people are staying on Mason to eat.
Happens at the beach too,
Oh,
down
yeah.
at the food trucks that they fill
Yes,
very quickly.
yeah.
We need to put the big ones down there anyway, 'cause it's
Yeah.
already the porta pots. I mean, putting those
Right.
big trash cans there isn't gonna really.
So anyway, just food for thought. And I did want to inquire about, I think Miss Davis, who's actually not here tonight,
She is
raised it
not.
many months ago.
It's not ours.
The former Coast Guard housing, it's moving at a snail's pace, and that sidewalk has been ripped up forever. And we were just talking about that being a great place for people to use. So,
They have just started making some significant progress.
They certainly
So,
are.
yes, so that has finally started to move.
is if they take another break from it, then maybe we can.
Where is that? I don't know.
On
The
Washington?
dreams by the water, dreams by the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, I've noticed both in the municipal parking lot, the gravel lot, and in the railroad's field across from Dead Rise, behind where the Silver Bullet is, with increasing frequency, there's RVs camping out there overnight, and actually multiple times a week in the field across from Dead Rise. Rather bold, but it has been ongoing in the parking lot. But I think as people see it happening,
They think it's,
they think it's okay, because I've seen a lot more of it, and at least 2 or 3 times a week there's an RV camped out in the field across from Dead Rise overnight. I mean, they pull out the awning. It's you know, they're not trying to hide it.
We need to shut that down. quick, 'cause
Fortunately,
they'll
we've got the
start
chief of
dumping
police
as
here
well.
tonight, so if we could increase the patrols there,
But is that, I mean, that's what, I wasn't sure what the stats, because that's
No
railroad
trespass.
property.
Private property,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it's clearly stated.
It's the railroad's level.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other comments?
Also at the harbor, kind of by
Oh, I don't know, I'm not, that-
the
yeah,
houseboat.
yeah, I know, I've asked the chief to look on that one too.
okay.
Yeah, That's been there a couple days.
We had that to park about recently,
Somebody camped at the
like
park?
5 hours there. And I was like, I hope he doesn't think he can stay.
Oh, I'm talking about overnight.
Yeah, they left.
All right, so I'll close it out with some announcements. Obviously, thanks to Julie, we're having another fantastic 4th of July this year. Obviously, the offices will be closed 4th of July. July 18th will be the regular town council meeting. July 25th will be town council work session for the beachfront master plan. August 1st will be town council work session if needed. August 6th, joint work session with planning commission. August 15th, town council regular meeting. And once again, thank you very much, Julie and John. Doc Dogs is back on the schedule for the 9th and 10th of November this year. So we will be having more stuff out there about that. Very excited about it. It'll be bigger and better. And on that note, can I get a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Any discussion?
We gotta
All
sit for 15 more minutes. I mean, you said.
All in favor for sitting for 15 more minutes?
What do we get for finishing 15 minutes before your deadline?
Don't think that this is the real.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.